period. I doubt we'll have a show tonight, but over this next week, we're going to get it figured out. Period. The goal is to lose. Oh, guess what, everybody? We are back. There we go. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the 2218's Attitude for Gratitude Weekly Podcast, celebrating our 82nd show. 82nd show. Do you know exactly what it was or no? Yeah. Was it something silly?
Everything just kept turning on.
So check it out, everybody. As always, we appreciate your patience. And at least, you know what? We get a good chuckle over here. You're good. Her mic is the only one not hooked up.
I know.
Is that frustrating you?
That's not ringing me up.
All right, so here's
My
the deal.
OCD is going crazy right now.
2218. That is where we have this podcast from. And tonight, we set up in a different room. We are trying to get things back in order here. We've got our guest, Ron Feist, on the show, and Elena at the boards. And we got some support in the room. What did I say, Ron Feist?
Sure,
I meant Ron F, keeping anonymity in contractually control here. I don't know. I'm a little flustered. We just spent 26 minutes trying to figure out something that, you know what, realistically, at this point in time, we should have it figured out, but this system keeps switching. The internet, StreamYard, blah. Find the solution, work through it. That's what we had to do, and we did. A little bit of patience, some dirty words, and some ignorance on my behalf. And before you know it, damn, you're live. So welcome back, everybody. Last week, we had a great turnout. I did not get the final numbers on what we are able to raise for the Ride for Recovery. I'm not sure if they're still tallying it, but it was a great turnout. We had tons of riders. Just wanted to thank everybody, all the volunteers, all the people that were of service, anyone that was able to make it out here. I know that Paul B won the dunk contest, followed behind by Curtis M, who was one of the keynote speakers. Then Brad, you know what? I lied. Bob S was second, then Curtis, then Brad, then me. I got the golden plunger. But you know what? I know personally, we raised $800 in an hour of ticket sales for the dunk tank. So that was awesome. If you look at any pictures, you can catch Bob and Curtis wearing tutus. Brad was wearing tassels on his nipples, and I was wearing what looked like a thong. But don't look at those pictures.
And I missed it.
What I want to tell you was, it was a blast. It was a whole day of some awesome recovery. It was awesome. We had great music. The food was out of this world. Vic was down there hammering on that grill. Mm-hmm. We had giveaways, blankets. I know there was every year someone makes a homemade Harley Davidson blanket, and this year I believe the winner. He doesn't ride a Harley, and someone gave him shit about it. So he was like, first one with $20, it's yours. So a guy bought it, and then he gave it to Carl. And it was just a sweet moment, and it was things like that we get to just appreciate this whole recovery thing. And I can't wait for next year, and I just, again, want to thank everyone who's part of that Ride for Recovery. And, Scott and Cheryl, who this was their creation. This is what they came up with, and it goes to all the volunteers. Like, I know Brad, Heather, like, they put in so much work on this. Just everybody that was involved. I don't want to even start naming names because I'm going to feel like an ass for forgetting people, because there was just that many. I know, like, Curtis and Alicia, everyone just played such a huge role for the turnout that we had, and I am very curious to see the numbers that we pulled. But it's those type of things that do help keep these doors open at the club here. And the other thing is memberships. So if you're able to come down to this club and make it your club, please do so. If you're looking for a place to call home, this is it. There's always things going on here, always changes. We had Jen on the show. I believe it was the night before the Ride for Recovery. We had Jen and we had Brad. Jen's going to be back in the next 3 weeks because we only had so much time with her, and she has an awesome story to tell. But she's the one who does all the gardening, all the window flowers. it's awesome what's going on here at 2218. So again, come down here, make it your club. If you are able to donate, please financially donate. Elena will do her best to get the links up. Otherwise, just go to the 2218 Facebook page and donate. This is an interactive show, meaning interact. If you have questions for our guest, if you have questions for Elena, you have questions for me, put them up there on the board. Elena and myself will put our numbers up there. If you're struggling, please reach out to either of us. If you have questions, concerns, reach out. If you're struggling, you're hurting, please reach out. You're worthy. You're worth it, dude. Don't or whoever's listening, like you're worth it. Don't get in your head. Get out of your head. Get to a meeting. Share that shit. Get it off your plate. Don't have to stew in it. The other thing is, if you have ideas for this show, please reach out to Elena or myself as well. We want the show to grow. We're always looking for new ideas. We're making lots of changes with what's going on here at the club, with the board switching around things, with new faces, old faces. Elena and I are basically running this show now, and we're going to be trying to bring on some new people and see what we can do with that. I think some people from the board are going to get involved. I think some people from squad council is going to get involved. We're not sure. It's up to Elena and myself to go with this show whichever way we want, and we'd love some input from you guys. All right, enough of that. Did we get time for you to do a segment? Did you want to do anything about some healthcare? We haven't heard from you in such a long time. I think maybe just talk to the audience, let them know you're doing okay and how are things going, and check in. I don't know if your mic's working.
It's not working.
This one is.
You didn't turn it on.
There you go.
Is it
I got you plugged in, but I just 1 and 2 have always worked, and 3 and 4 we have an issue with. So you're good. Talk to them.
All right. Well, I was going to do a small segment tonight, but I'm not going to do a big one because
we killed a half hour.
We kind of killed a half an hour trying to figure out the computer. This week I was going to talk about mental health relapse because for the last couple weeks I don't talk about it much because I don't talk about my issues, but I've been going through a little bit of some issues with what I call mental health relapse, and a lot of people go through them, and I just want to remind everybody that it's okay to talk about these things. There's a few people that are listening right now that go through these, and they've called me and they've talked through them, and there's people that have reached out in ways that they shouldn't, but at least they're trying to reach out. They're trying to find a way to get someone to help them through what they're going through. And a lot of us in recovery deal with past trauma. And one of those things with trauma, we think about things from our past and it comes up and it gets us and it messes with our mental health in so many ways that a lot of normies don't understand. So I just want to remind everybody that it's okay to have these moments, but we do have to reach out, and we have to remember that just because we're having that moment today, it's not going to completely set us back from everything that we've changed in our life. From every good moment, all those good moments are not going to disappear because we have one relapse in our mind of the things that used to happen to us. So I just want to remind do you want to intro?
Life does have its ups and downs.
Shut the fuck. It's not Timmy time yet.
Tonight, we've got the man, we've got the myth, we've got what some would say is the legend. He's a guy who's been in recovery. He's owned and ran sober houses. He's started meetings in the past. He's monumental at different Alano clubs across the metro. He's a business owner. He sponsors guys. He has a sponsor. He's very involved, and he is my sponsor. He's the one my mommy called while I was in my treatment to ask if he would be my sponsor. And he will talk about it, but he answered accordingly and said, well, Tim's got my number, type of a deal. But yes, this is who's in the house tonight, is Ron F. Please introduce yourself.
I remember that story.
Yeah.
Yes, Ron F. This is working, right? I love it, right?
Yeah. Hey, rumor
Sweet.
has it. Rumor has it.
Rumor has.
I believe we're good to go, right?
Yeah.
Babe?
I love
Go.
it.
Yeah. Go. Come on.
Yeah, go.
Get with it.
What you lead him into it, Tim?
Who are you?
My name's Ron Feiss, and I'm definitely an alcoholic.
All right. Welcome back to the show. I believe this is your.
I'm a pickle. I'll never be a cucumber. Never was a cucumber.
There we go. This, like I said, the man, the myth, the legend. We've got tons of stories. I got a few. I didn't read. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm just now noticing some of the posts on here. Hi, Cheryl, James, everyone who's already on here. I'll give you guys shout outs after. Not sure if we did have a final number on the Ride for Recovery yet of what we raised, but I do know it was substantial. But we always need more help. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump into your segment here, but Ron is someone who's helped take me through the steps, and he's also very involved in recovery. So what I first wanted to talk to you, or have you talk to us about, is your beginnings. We don't need to hear about your drunk log. We know you earned your seat here, but what was early recovery like for you, and did you get it on your first go?
No, not at all. My first experience with maybe thinking I had a problem was a DWI in '92 was my first. It wasn't my first consequence, but my first legal consequence, I guess you can say. That was my first assessment and outpatient treatment. I forget where it was at. It was out in, I believe it was out in Minnetonka somewhere. I forget. It was outpatient treatment. I had no.
Was it court? The court said you got to go.
Well, it wasn't so much a court. Back in those. I should say back in those days. Like,
you are old. You can say that.
I'm getting up there. I'm getting on.
I mean, he's older than me.
The
I mean, he's older than me.
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay.
But wait. I guess we should precede this with you've known about recovery your whole life, correct?
Yes, it's kind of. I was just talking to some people downstairs when I came in. I remember coming here with my father for Alateen, and then he was in St. Mary's back in the day, and that was really truly back in the day.
Like
But I remember
or something.
2018, you come in here and people be singing around the piano and stuff like
Right,
that.
yeah.
So, yep. So I was probably 10 at the time, roughly. I just remember some of that stuff coming in here, and also the New Hope Al-Anon, I remember going in there. That's back when people didn't care about smoking. You used to be able to cut the smoke with a knife back in the day in some of the Al-Anons. But anyway, but my first outpatient treatment, my DWI. I mean, basically, I paid an attorney to get me out of it. Did an assessment. I was somewhat honest, and I really use that real loosely. Somewhat honest on that, but I was told to go to outpatient treatment. I had no plans of quitting drinking. I didn't think I had a problem.
Okay.
It was the old, you can always tell an alcoholic from a normal person. I guess I kind of put it that way, but if I get pulled with the DWI and I'm not a real heavy drinker and this and that, and I did an oops, I will say it's my fault. I will never do that again. And most normal drinkers won't do that, right? So, you can't hear me, right? You good?
Yeah, no, you're good. I just wanted to gaze in your eyes.
Oh, did you? Yeah, my eyes are. No, don't lose yourself in my eyes, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, the alcoholic, if it gets pulled, if an alcoholic gets pulled over, and I've had amazingly just one DWI, but the alcoholic will say, "Well, the cop was looking for me," or "I'm going to choose a different way home," or I might drink something. Maybe I won't have as many dead Nazis as I just had. That kind of thing. They will blame everybody but themselves, and they will not have the willpower to control their drinking in the future, which I experienced very much so for the next 20 years. But that was the first deal. Second deal was in '97. I did the white knuckle, hold on, don't drink, and put a plug in the jug, and that's it. And that lasted not very long, about 6 months. It was a pretty miserable 6 months when you take the alcohol and drugs away from an alcoholic addict like me. And just with no solution. Right. I was lost. I was angry, holding on just to prove to people and myself to a certain extent that I can just quit and be good. So, I'm using 6 months. I think I'm rounding up a little bit on that. But it just took one time for me to get something to drink. I'm going to drink at you. Just took something. Just took something to happen in my life that was okay. I can't handle this anymore. I don't know how to handle it. I can't imagine not using. So I picked up any relapser that I know right where I left off. There's no doubt.
Hit the ground running.
I remember it was an establishment in Maple Grove, and I'm like, F it. I'm done.
Strap one on.
Yeah, and then it just went on from there.
Was it called Pulaski's back then?
No, it was not. It's actually, I don't know if I should be, it doesn't matter. The lookout
Lookout.
bar.
Oh,
being,
Bob's.
being that I looked, being at the time I was renting right down the road.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's, and then of course,
They got good fried chicken.
they do have good.
All right. So that was your first kind of attempt.
Yep, and that's what and I since I've been sober, you may be an alcoholic if you've ever walked into an AA. People don't come to AA meetings and a whatnot. They don't come to meetings because they have things under control. It's a cry for help in my book.
Right.
You just don't show up there. You finally come to the last house in the block, which is the anonymous groups out there. Because I've kind of tried everything and I need to kind of check this out. To me, that's a definition of powerlessness to a certain extent. They're coming in these doors. That means we got to put the cribbage game away or put it down, stop talking without fellowship, and grab that newcomer that walks in that door.
There you go.
That's the most important thing in that building. No doubt about it. They need help. They're not gonna. We were talking earlier about when your mother called me about this.
Yes.
And an important thing I think we have to remember, and I say we, and I definitely me myself, is yes, we give our numbers to newcomers and offer sponsorship, but it's up to us to make that first phone call. It ain't wait for them to call us because, well, I don't know if I would have ever. I would have probably, I should say never, but I probably wouldn't have called my first sponsor back in the day.
No.
It was just, it was kind of old school in a way. Hey, I don't know why I'm using that word so much.
Yeah. Well. Hey.
But I was assigned one in a group. You have to go. Hey, my one of the guys was bringing me to the meetings. I was in a sober house at the time, and we were in the meeting. He goes, "Yep, that's Chris. Chris, you need to get his number. He's your sponsor."
So some other long timer said did this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So it was kind of. I mean, that's the way it should be done.
And that did that work for you then? I mean, when you finally came back to the rooms, wait, all right, so
Well, that was my second outpatient treatment. Fast forward to let me see here, October 26, 2009, which is my sober date. Yeah, exactly.
What?
we celebrate clean time here.
Yeah, we do.
It's a miracle.
But when I got sober, there was no parade outside. I was hoping there would be a parade for me getting sober, having my 30 days. But it started from there. I went to inpatient, and I knew I wanted to quit drinking.
So you were at this is this is what I kind of want to dive into now is
Sure.
I was waiting for you to get to that because I've told my story a few times since the last time you were here, and I don't know, it's always kind of hit me differently when I talk about how it was for me when I chose to come to these rooms. I always say, I was selfish about it because I just used until I was done, and I was desperate. I did the gift of desperation.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how to do it. I just knew I needed it, but I couldn't do it on my own. So I went to get the help, but I feel the relapse situation it was easier for me because I was done. I knew inside, I'm done. I used enough until I was done. What you're saying is you knew you were done. You knew you wanted to be done, or what are you saying?
I had extinguished everything I thought that I could be a controlled drinker, that everything was fine. At the time I was sober, I had a job.
The auto parts,
I was in sales. I was
Yeah.
a sales manager there. I mean, I had not. You get to choose your bottom. You can always dig deeper. Not saying a lot of times before that was not great. I was involved in the family business, which I'm back at now, but have been since 2014. But that's really beside the point. It's all about me and my relationships and looking myself in the mirror, not liking what I'm seeing. Now, health things have scared me a little bit as far as that. Back not knowing if I'd wake up the next morning.
That's what I mean.
I've had a lot of those. Not knowing, and certain, I wasn't really a blackout drinker per se. I mean, God kept me awake for all the bad parts that didn't seem to bother me.
Right.
Because of my selfishness, because it was just I was that much wrapped up in. I'm basically an alcoholic who's very fond of whatever else you might have.
Right.
Just for the listeners and for everybody, I mean, I've done everything besides heroin. So,
Right.
I mean, everything.
You weren't too picky.
No.
But I mean, there was times. Sure, I recall some nights with you guys, you and the whatever, whoever, and I mean, there was no brake pedal.
You get to the jumping off point where I can't imagine my life without using, and I can't imagine life using. I don't know. It's about abstinence. You know, the human body, we can eventually quit doing this. I mean, I don't care how you're built. I don't like using that term. I don't care, but it's.
It doesn't matter how
You know, I drink every day, sure, but there were some days I didn't drink because I was trying to heal up a little bit and get some rest.
Right.
There's some days I just turned away because my body was so beaten up and tired that I'm just going to take a break today. I used to play the game in my mind here a little bit about using my will and not being powerless. I would hit it hard during the holidays, and after New Year's, I always told myself I'm taking January off. I did that for several years.
I didn't know that,
and I finally gave up on that because I don't even, whatever. I mean, it's been a while now, but I know I never even came close to making.
Well, what? Maybe that first weekend.
Yeah, maybe that first weekend.
Yeah.
So the definition of powerless was all over me. The unmanageability was everywhere. The unmanageability I have now is nothing like I have when I was using. I've got.
Well, now you have a set of tools and a solution.
Sure,
you have a solution.
Exactly. And it's worthy when we need to catch the newcomer. At any time, really, when they're finally sober. But I mean, even Bill got 12 stepped when he was, he got introduced for maybe Thatcher. Even he got, came in the kitchen. He was drinking, and his old drinking buddy shows up all
happy
sober
and found God
and all that. And I believe it. It says in the book that he's, I got enough gin or whatever to, outlast his rambling or whatever the case it is. But even he was planted. He got the seed planted when he was intoxicated,
right,
if you will. So, not that you might get any further than that, but yes, I mean, to approach the guy and learn what's there. I feel my experience and also reading the book that it's best to catch them after a bad day, after a bender, if you will,
bender,
a spree, or all the other words we use for it in the book. So they may be willing to listen because hopefully some consequences and some pain they may be listening. So. We just have to make sure we're there for the newcomer. So yeah, I mean,
So when you knew, no, not new, but you came in October this last time. What was the thought on it? Or that I'm trying to put a spotlight on what was up here.
The seed was planted with me by two of my friends that met me at Champs at the time in Maple Grove because they knew they had to meet me somewhere where there was booze.
That was the only way they're going to get you there.
So they wanted to talk to me. Whatever, it comes through, and they were, I'm still very close to those two friends today. So they were concerned for me. So even though I didn't get sober at that point in time, it was roughly a month or so later that I just started missing appointments. I was taking complete advantage of my family. As we all know, drugs and alcohol was number one.
Right. They took the front seat.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter my behavior. And I'll tell you this, I wanted to change. I wanted to change. I knew that AA was out there and the programs were out there and treatment centers were out there, that kind of thing, to get a start. Because either I was going to die.
Yeah.
Suicide had crossed my mind. Didn't have the gun loaded, not like that or whatever. But that was a thought that would roll through my mind. So once you get to that point, I want to live. And that's what, we hope we catch people before they get too deep into the depression and all that. I'm not a doctor, of course, but I'm saying it's, I need more in my hands and my feet to count how many people we've lost to this disease. I would need a lot of that, but I need a lot of digits, sad to say, but most of us die. We're the blessed ones. When we say we're blessed,
yes,
we are absolutely blessed. and we were willing to put our, we were willing to put our ego aside and take the, I go to the third step here a little bit, I guess, but I'm taking my life out of the hands of an idiot for the time being to go through these steps.
Right.
And learn from other people in the program through the fellowship, because we're attracted first by the fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous when we come into the rooms.
Attraction rather than promotion.
Yeah. So that's the first thing of sobriety we see. We don't really start reading the book yet. At least that's my experience. I mean, I read the book, because I was on it. I mean, I was reading the book and treatment the 20 days I was there. So, but it's the first thing we see. So. We have to be attractive.
Number 2.
So, but and then
So then, with finding, I'm still picking apart the October. You walking in, that's you reached the bottom. You didn't want to live. You didn't want to die. You didn't know what was. I mean. Gift of desperation, is that you walking in on October? What happened in October with your sober date? What was that day? Talk to me about that day.
That day, the 25th, because I remember, my father's been sober since '78, and they always have 78.
So he's got 44 years.
Yep, exactly. Yep. That does include weekends too,
Ah,
and holidays.
jail time weekends.
Yes, it does. Little sober date joke there, everybody.
Congratulations, Bill.
If you get it, stay with us.
And if you don't, you need to.
Yep, it's a little joke. Yeah, but we there's always an omelet breakfast. One of the Northern Alanos always holds an omelet breakfast, and I had every intention of being there, and I wanted to be there for my father, just to be there, because I did know some of his friends in AA and all the good.
That was, where was that at?
It was the it was the North Suburban Alano that had the omelet breakfast. They still have today, to my knowledge. Of course, COVID put a kibosh on a couple of those things, but
Right.
I think it's back, but whatever. It wasn't the VFW of all places, but but the whole big room up there in Osseo.
That's the Osseo. Yeah. You had me there a couple
I had
times.
I had every intention. We bought a lot of cookies there. There's a bake sale.
Yes, I do remember, and yes, I brought my allowance.
Yep, there's nothing better than homemade cookies. So the deal is we went to. I had every intention of being there, and I showed up at the end of it. They were basically cleaning up. I had just been on a 2-day bender, no doubt about it, and barely able to sleep. And the look at my dad's eyes when he saw me, I'm like, I can't live like this anymore. And I had already been through
Shame, the guilt. Just
all that, and then I go, I got this is a.
But that wasn't the first time you've seen that.
No,
from
it's
your
about
dad.
a month removed from my friend. A couple of my friends basically have an intervention with me, if you will, at Champs.
Right.
It's amazing how God works through people.
God was
because these
saying-
guys weren't necessarily sober. Well, one was sober at the time. It really doesn't matter, But
Is one of them not even here
and
anymore?
these friends I've known since these are friends I've known since high school. So partying buddies, if you will, and they're telling me I have a problem. I'm like, okay, well, I'm like, yep, good enough. I'll listen to you talk for a while. Give me another vodka tonic, and I'm good.
Mm.
But it finally it was something that it did plant the seed in me. It's I was ready. And I knew that there was a different way to live out there. I was aware of the program to a certain extent.
Besides your old man, who else did you
And
know?
I kind
in
of
recovery?
went back to before I started using heavily. That brought me back to the mid years of high school, and I wanted that kind of a life back.
Did you have a friend? Besides your dad? Did you have any friends that were in recovery, in AA, active?
No.
Okay.
No.
You were the first of your friends, let's say, that took this journey.
Yep, exactly.
So what was it? You saw your dad.
Well, if you were sober, I didn't hang out with you.
Right, they're quitters. Whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, you were the only.
And you didn't. Well, a little grandiose there. You didn't hang out with me.
Right. Besides, my cousin Mark, who's been on the show,
Sure.
and you were the only two in my life I'd ever known in recovery. And sure, we talked shit, but you two were both happy, successful,
Absolutely.
family back, people trusting you, whatever. So you see the old man, gives you this look.
Yep.
And then what? You just said that.
Literally the next day. That was the 25th. The next day.
And how is the old man? Is he one of these deals like, you sick of it yet? Have you had enough?
He's done talking. He would fix me if he could.
Right.
He would do anything to have his son be healthy because his son's going to die eventually with the things I was doing.
Right.
and just a pain in his eyes and his motions. And my dad's a pretty, well, you know my father.
Yeah.
He's a pretty outspoken, this and that, and he'll tell you the way it is, and he has.
Yeah. He's
And
not going
and he still
to beat
does.
around the bush. He's no secrets.
When he didn't say anything, just looked at him, and I literally saw him and walked away. The next day, I called him. I don't know if I've ever said this before, even when I've told my story at some meetings. I called my friend. He called New Beginnings, and that was where I started, if you will. That's where I went to treatment. I needed to get away. I sat in the AA group up there because I couldn't get in. I couldn't get a bed right away. Right, I didn't get a bed. I think until just before Halloween. I think I went to New Beginnings on Halloween or something like that. Whatever. I was there for 19
October
days.
31st.
And I got out on my dad's birthday, which is the 18th. So whatever. I sat and cried in that AA meeting like a baby.
That
The
first
pain
one
was so bad, and I heard everybody talking about all this great stuff and how close this group was. And they're talking about the book, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. I mean, people are kind of looking. They don't know me from Adam. I've never, this is the first time I've been in an AA group in I don't know how long. And this just the pain mixed with some of the joy, mixed with some of the shame. I mean, all the feelings were coming real now.
Yes.
That I've pulled away. Well, so it was only a day at that time. But that was so. I stayed with Dad for a couple of days. I think I might have. Then I went. No, I stayed when I got out. Because when I got out of treatment, he picked me up on first of all, I had my 40th birthday party at the gymnasium.
and
I had different plans for that. Trust me.
Yeah.
But I had my 40th, and even let us have a couple candles in there. Even though I probably shouldn't say this, but the fire code thing. So the candles were outside actually. But
Yeah, here we go.
there we go. Yeah. Anyway, it was great. It was great there. Met some other people there. I only talked to one from there a little bit. But or a couple actually.
But that became your everything, life, recovery.
I was all in. I knew my plan isn't working. I was all in about what they had to say, and honestly, I went into a sober house. The requirements of the sober house were 4 meetings a week and 2 services a month.
What does that mean?
So 4 meetings a week, any AA meeting, whatever. I shouldn't say whatever. Any meetings, recovery meetings. There was a check-in on Mondays, and then 2 services a month, which was a service to a detox Salvation Army.
Oh, taking a meeting somewhere.
Yeah, any kind of service. That was a requirement. I remember.
Was there spiritual requirements at that one? Like a church or
no,
there wasn't.
No,
Okay.
I mean that was a. Yeah, I mean it was AA meetings.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to,
I know, like
church,
we're
all about
it.
it. Get spiritually.
Teen Challenge, they have spiritual requirements. But
Sure.
I'm just wondering.
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, that was.
And this went on for the first. How long? Were you in that
I was there for 6 months and moved on there.
Okay.
The requirements were that you stay there for 6 months.
Now, did you move out of there and
God bless.
And God bless.
God bless that kind of. It wasn't a 3 strikes you're out kind of a sober house. It wasn't just sit around here and do nothing. You had chores to do. You ran, and I.
You were held accountable.
Yep, exactly. And I carried. And once I moved into a house, rented there, and then I started that same sober house with the same curriculum, if you will.
You started a sober house.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. We had Crystal for about 7 years.
And that was a house that you had. You guys converted it into a sober house.
Yep.
And you used kind of the same standards that New Beginnings used. You just went out there, platforming away.
Yeah, for sure.
And how long did you do that for?
Till I moved out there in 2017, 16.
Now, did you go back to the same job you were at?
15. Anyway.
Did you go back to the same job you were at prior to getting into recovery?
When I was in recovery, I was still in sales. I was there for till 2015 actually. So 2015.
So a couple years still doing that with the same guys that you were partying with after work. Now you weren't.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, it's you at the end of the day, you still got to be out in the world a little bit. But I was so busy with, I mean, it was 4 meetings a week.
Right.
It was New Hope, Bloomington, Plymouth, and then I mixed it up a little bit with some other.
But you
I played a few different courses, but I definitely went to 3 of the meetings all the time.
that is what you needed for that's what worked for your story, right?
Absolutely,
Like,
absolutely.
those commitments, that high intensity, boom, 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 busy.
Yep.
No
Sobriety
idle time.
has to be priority. And
Right.
there's nothing worse than what I've been told and what I've experienced than an alcoholic being by themselves and not having nothing to do.
Paul,
Sitting around there stewing inside my head at the time would have been really bad. Would have been a really bad neighborhood, if you will.
so if recovery doesn't come first, everything else will come last.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
That required right away my experience, like I was told, like I tell some other newcomers, or still newcomers and people I meet in the meetings, it's got to be number one. It may require you possibly moving into a sober house or some type of house to get away from certain family members. I may not be able to talk to some family members for a while.
I was gonna say, what about holidays? What'd you do in those first
it
holidays?
It may require me not working at certain places.
What'd you do when the first holidays come around? Because your family's not all in recovery, correct?
No.
Did you just not
a lot
go?
of them are now. I came out. That was my concern because I came out. It was 10 days removed. 10 days prior to going to for Thanksgiving, and my plan was I normally hit Thanksgiving about as hard as I hit New Year's, which I didn't need an excuse to hit it hard. That was a guaranteed binge,
Right.
No doubt about it. I remember what I did do was back in those days. I keep on saying back in those days. It was like 10 years ago.
Back in those days.
It was like 10 years ago. The Founders Day was held at Gopher State Roundup is always down in Bloomington, right? But back in that time, Founders Day was held at the DoubleTree Hotel in Golden Valley, St. Louis Park area.
Oh, right there at 394 in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Or
of course I went there.
Yeah.
Of course, you're supposed to go to meeting. You're going to meetings. That's a requirement. And I think that week, because I counted on all the meetings I went to there, the speaker meetings and stuff. So I had like 10 meetings, right? So I thought I was king shit when I had all these meetings. And the guys in the house go, just keep on doing what you're doing. Get over yourself and go clean the bathroom.
But you had, I want to, and I want to touch on that. All right, so we got you into recovery. You knew you needed this, and it's starting to work. What'd you surround yourself with? The type of people. Now I know you have a group of friends that they all party, and you just said like you were the only one in recovery.
Yep.
They tell us, surround yourself with the winners. Don't let yourself be around people who close on your shit. How did you figure out who to surround yourself with? How did you figure out what connections to make?
Well, I guess to me, my experience is early on you've got some triggers, right? So I don't, I get that. The triggers go away once you do the steps because there is no triggers anymore, in my opinion.
Once you do
I should say opinion in my experience.
Your experience.
But early on, I had to take, at the time I worked over in Roseville and I had to drive through Northeast and all that. Well, that was my, well, just face it, Northeast in that area, when you trip over a bar over there, right? So I would take the freeway home instead of cutting across Broadway. Because there was a few other bars there, too, that I was very fond of. One's no longer open anymore, or a couple aren't even open anymore.
Yeah, both of those type of bars aren't open.
Yeah, both those types of bars. That was my favorite.
I like those.
Those are my favorite bars. The ones with no windows in them. Those are fantastic.
Yeah.
So no, I had to change the way I drove home just to keep from even having the urge. I was on the working the program and committed to a sober house, but I would normally drive from there, right to a meeting or right to home into a meeting.
Well, because you used to go from work right to the shoot or right to a bar, right?
Oh, absolutely.
That was your after work routine.
Absolutely.
So now you have to fill that with something.
Yeah, there was never a time. I drank every day.
Yeah. You were.
There was, literally every day. Even if I was, it's the old classic saying, hair and a dog, if you don't feel good in the morning, well, start drinking bloodies or whatever the case. I call it my German and Norwegian makeup. I don't know, whatever. We all have different tolerances. It isn't about how much you can drink. It's when you drink, what happens when you drink.
Right.
So, but in my experience, people were dumbfounded by how much I could drink. Like, my God, he's at a bottle of Crown, and the dude still talks and everything else, and can walk. And well, let's just chalk that up to maybe my heritage or genes, and then
Or whatever
being a seasoned drinker. But enough of that. Whatever. So
there's other reasons he could still walk and talk after a bottle of Crown.
Yeah, there was other.
That's just not
Other
you know,
enhancements.
but he drank booze.
There's other outside issues.
You earned your seat in these rooms. Let's say that.
So, but that was, that I did what they told. I did what the group and my sponsor told me to do. My sponsor wasn't some hard ass, but he told me what he did, and he just, like any other sponsor, showed him what worked for him. But I really got involved immediately with a lot of the fellowship and all my meetings. So I was very, very busy with AA, which is good.
You started meetings, right? Dan, weren't you part of meetings?
Yeah, we started
Action?
after my first year and a half. We had started a big book study that's still going on today, I believe. Yeah, so we started.
And you took me to some of those out there in Bloomington or down south there. We go to Broadway Pizza after.
Yep, we go to fellowship afterwards.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We had we did a lot of things afterwards too. And of course we were doing service, and it just happens as you go through the steps. You want to get out there and meet newcomers and bring the message out there. And our experience is that the 2 services a month turned into 3 or 4. I also got involved on the
area level,
or
region or district
level, and getting involved with that in AA too. So,
I mean, GSR type stuff.
Yep.
GSR. General Service. What is that? General Service.
General Service
Representative.
Remember, we're the upside down triangle. There's no boss.
There is no boss.
The groups are the boss. If you, of course, my one of the friends that he's gone. He's passed on now, but party was awesome. He goes, "No boss, Ron. Don't be saying boss." I go, "Yep, you're right.
No boss." Well, I didn't know when I came in.
We're not afraid to call out people, and maybe the call out's the wrong word, but
hold people accountable.
Yep, exactly, and tell people that we're the 12-step programs are designed to change my behavior and how I think and my personality and my behavior. I could chalk up behavior because behavior really to me is step 6 and 7. No one understands 6 and 7, right? Steps, but that's the whole book's about that, and that's what this whole program is about. It's about changing how my thinking and how my personality. It does not happen overnight. It is a lifetime journey.
We were entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of characters, and then we humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings.
People always think they got gypped in the big book because there's only 2 paragraphs on them. There's a paragraph for each step, but the whole book is about that.
So, all right,
yeah, for sure.
Moving forward. No, you're not done.
Oh, no.
We just
So, do you sponsor?
I do. I'm not. Honestly, I'm not as active as I used to be. I go to a meeting a week roughly. I've been kind of mixing up a little bit. I need to get back into it. I started out. You start out on fire when you do this, and you just can't help it. You just get on fire. You want to help. You want to save the whole world. Frankly, I still do to a certain extent. But I have to understand that it's not me, it's God. But I was at one time. I mean, let's just at one time, AA saved my life, and I was doing a ton of stuff for the and also running the sober house and running an effective sober house. To me, that's another part-time job, no doubt about it. So I was doing that. I was a GSR for 2 groups. I was on the board of an Al-Anon. I was sponsoring men at the time, and I was also going to my meetings. And it was I actually just started to develop a resentment at AA, but it was my fault. I had to force step that myself, and that sounds pretty crazy, right? But we can get there because we get so involved. And there's the key word to me is the balance. The balance comes out. So I had to. My sponsor saw it in me, and he's like, "You need to back off some of this stuff." I go, "Ron, you're not here to save the whole world." I go, "Look at you. You need to get some balance in your life too." Because at the time, I just started to work with our family business again, which is any business, and you're managing and running people and that kind of thing. I'm in the automotive towing and recovery business, and it's crazy. That's busy enough the way it is. So I had to back off a lot of that. And now I'm kind of, hey, I'm here to be honest with you. I need to get back into some more meetings again.
Wait, whoa! You
that's-
breezed
but-
right over that.
But I did.
What kind of resentments did you have against? Come on. You can't
Because
just-
going.
Yeah.
Just there was, you start making these appointments, right? And I put in my phone on my calendar and all that kind of stuff. Well, there was one time I had something to do with AA for 16 days. If it wasn't a meeting or of course you're a squad leader, you're a GSR, this, you engulf yourself so much into it that you start, I'm not, this is not bragging, it's just a fact.
Not the audience, but
Not-
these
yep.
people even need to hear this.
Yep. So
come on.
and I'm
These
like,
people?
yeah. So and you get there, and I'm not saying I'm holier than thou and almighty. So I backed off of that.
Fucking roll. No, hey, it was good. Hey, you're fucking saving lives out here. Now we're back to that shit. But audience, the only way we can fix this is to cut it and restart it.
Is it good?
No, and we didn't even do nothing, did we?
The computer muted for a second and I unmuted it and then bam, we lost everything.
So here's the deal, audience. If you can even hear me, we're sorry about this, and I don't know. We're gonna talk amongst ourselves if we even restart this or not. We're gonna write a message out there
I'm
about
bringing
this.
a different computer next week. We need to try to.
We're gonna try with a different laptop next week. Elena's gonna put together a message and put it out there. We do thank everybody for their patience and apologize for the technical issues. We love you. You're not alone. Please reach out if you're struggling. And Ron, thank you. We will have you back to finish what I had in store for us to talk about in the second hour. Thank you. We love you. Goodbye. Just kill it. It's not fair to